Hello and welcome back to Podium Pop. My name is Celine and I'm here with my co-host Gracie. Today we have a very exciting episode for you. We are going to be giving a recap of our time at the Nashville Indycar race, the last race of the season. We're going to touch very briefly on Formula One, but we definitely want to have this episode mostly about the IndyCar experience and the IndyCar race. Before we get started, make sure you go follow us on social media. We post quite a bit on TikTok. We post a lot of content from us at the race this past weekend. Also follow us on Instagram because we post on there quite a bit also. And then make sure to check out every episode. You would have to follow us on YouTube and Spotify, so go follow us on there. If you enjoy this episode, make sure you give us a thumbs up or 5 stars or a comment below. Just interact with us because we love interacting back with you. Let's go ahead, pop the bottle, get right on into it, and let's talk about our time in Nashville.
And we just had the best time ever.
We had the very best time. For those of you that are watching, instead of listening, if you are watching, you will notice that we both are wearing Kyle Kirkwood jerseys.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the Kirk girls.
Shout out to the Kirk girls.
We had the very best time.
I feel like I need to put in a quick disclaimer. We are very fond of talking in accents on vacation. And
yeah, it takes us a bit to get out of it.
Our whole, we just talked in a country accent our whole vacation in Nashville. Sometimes British, so if I slip into an accent, just let it happen.
Was I doing an accent? I don't even notice what I'm doing anymore.
You started to. You, reeled it in. And, barely. But I feel like I had to put out that disclaimer.
Yeah, I didn't have to talk too much on the phone today at work. But I am nervous that I'm actually going to slip into,
and it was fun.
An actual
And if you know,
accent.
like a vacation accent.
Yeah, you'll bounce back eventually. Just take some time.
Yep.
We'll recover. We'll make a full recovery. Don't worry. Yeah. You can also, maybe you can't, but you probably can tell that I am slightly losing my voice. Gracie probably
I am as well.
Is as well. And that's a combination of me being slightly sick, but more so, we did a lot of yapping this weekend.
We couldn't be stopped.
We couldn't be stopped yapping to each other, yapping to our friends, yapping to ourselves. It was a yappy weekend. It was a fun weekend. One of my favorite, definitely my favorite IndyCar experience that I've had. One of my favorite trips I've taken.
It was so fun. Let's get into it. We went down on Friday to Nashville. We drove down. It wasn't bad for us. We only had 4.5 hours. It's pretty fine. Oh, and Miss MJ, I'm going to shout you out right now. I know you're listening. We picked up MJ from the airport. I slipped into the accent.
Yep, you were doing it.
We picked up MJ from the airport, and then we had some lunch. We waited for Airbnb to be ready. Went to Target. Of course, we went to Old Navy.
We had to check out Old Navy.
We had to.
I only got I got this necklace, but that's all I got. I didn't even get any clothes.
They had a lot of fall stuff out, so if you're ready for fall,
go to Old Navy. Shout out to Old Navy.
Shout out to Old Navy.
If you'd like to sponsor us,
please let us know. I know you would.
Yeah.
And then we went to our Airbnb. Lovely place, got ready, and we went to Track Talk's live podcast event. Look at Watson.
I know, she's so cute.
So, for our audio listeners, Celine's cat is having, her head on my shoulder. It's really cute. The Track Talk event was fun.
Yeah, I think we should talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
It's the first live podcast I've ever attended.
Me too.
And I didn't really know what to expect going into it, but it was super cool. So there were a lot of people involved in this event. Track Talk obviously being there with Fan Amp. They had panelists come in. So they had Barista Josh,
they had
Zoe E. Racing,
and I forget Jordan's last name. Her name is Jordan. She helps post about job opportunities in motorsport.
Yes. So they all were panelists at the event. Sarah Offey, who is a friend of ours, she also was at the event helping make friendship bracelets. They had the author of Joseph's Big Dream, I think is the name of the book.
Yeah.
Which is the children's book kind of about Joseph Newgard. And he was there as well selling some of his books. There's just a lot of people that kind of came together to make this event happen. And it was a super cool experience. The podcast was great. They talked a lot about how, from different perspectives, a content creator, an actual race car driver, and someone that works in motorsport, how to get involved and how they got their start and what they, expect and anticipate from the future of motorsport and how they think that we got here. All of that, really focusing on a lot of focus on, the diversity and, inclusion in motorsport and all of that, along with, this huge influx of,
fans,
like these new fans and fangirls and all of that. So it was super cool to watch. I'm excited for them to post it too, because I'm probably going to re-listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you weren't able to go to the event, make sure you go listen to that. It was super interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Oh, then afterwards, we had to do what we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
We hit the town.
We hit the town running.
We went back home to our Airbnb, our home for the week.
Great Airbnb, by the way.
It was lovely. We picked up Miss Marley Motorsport.
Miss Marley Motorsport.
And our friend Ryan.
Yep.
And we just happened to hit the town. We had a blast.
Yep, we met up with our friends.
Our
Sarah. That's so fair, though.
Yeah, that's our Sarah.
Our friend Sarah. And then our other friend, Sarah, Paddock Princess, also met us out with our new friend, Emily, a.k.a. Paddock Potato. A lot of friends. It was the whole weekend. That's, like, the way that you just have to, describe it. So we got to meet up with all of them. We didn't stay out. Well, I didn't stay out too late because we had a very early morning.
I got rained on in the bar. There was like a
AC.
We all did.
The
AC was
leaking
condensation.
Yeah.
At me, and it got in my drink for sure. So
it's fine. It builds immunity
for sure.
So I was already getting sick before that. It's not from that. Shout out to Tootsie's. Love your bar.
Actually, that was fun. It's
a great bar.
Great music.
So Saturday, woke up very early because Formula One qualifying was at 7 a.m. For Central Time. So we watched qualifying. Again, very briefly touching on it. Very disappointed for Lando.
Shed a tear.
Out in Q1 because of a whole situation that we'll go over
later,
in another episode. But Oscar, P2 for McLaren. Charles was on pole.
It's great.
We'll move on from that.
We got ready and we got to the track.
Yes. And this is our first time at the Nashville Superspeedway. It's the first time that Indycar is back at the Nashville Superspeedway in a while. So it was new to a lot of the drivers on the grid. So we really didn't fully know what to expect. The other thing to note is that there was an anticipation of rain pretty much on and off all day. It was kind of... it was just kind of always a possibility, and no one really fully knew when to expect it.
Yeah.
But pleasantly surprised with actually how long it held off. It didn't even start raining until the afternoon, right?
It was like leftovers from the hurricane that happened in the Gulf. So it was really
Francine.
Francine. It was like a hit or a miss. Like, is it going to come this way, that way? Is it going to be strong? Is it that? I heard or Thursday night maybe there was like lots of rain. Luckily on Saturday it held off for the most part. We got through to qualifying without it raining.
Yeah, through the first practice session, we got through qualifying. In between those two sessions, we were able to go over to the paddock, meet up with friends. We attended Sarah Offey's meetup. And then we watched qualifying. And then we were like, you know what? What are we missing?
Kyle Kirkwood.
Kyle.
Position award.
Kyle.
Oh, sorry, the P1 award.
P1 Kyle. Very exciting.
Oh, yeah, that was so exciting.
I love Andretti. And specifically, I love Colton and Kyle so much. Obviously, I love Pietro too, but Colton and Kyle so much.
You do not have to put that in as a disclaimer.
I don't know if y'all know this or not, but I also love Pietro.
Yeah, it does not need to be a disclaimer.
But no, Kyle and Colton, I always am super excited for. And you know what? What a nice guy.
Oh, so
he deserves a lot of success.
Oh, were we gonna say the same thing
about Logan?
Oh my god, you guys!
Yeah,
we didn't see him in the paddock, which is so fucked up, to be honest. I'm sorry, it was, but we are just getting ready. Oh, we go live with MJ while we're getting ready. And, we're just getting an influx of comments. It's like, Logan's in the paddock. And then we get a text from our friend. She's like, I met Logan in the paddock. And we were like, we should have gotten up earlier.
Yeah.
And then our friends said it seemed to be, obviously, this isn't, like, being told, but it seemed that he was kind of walking around, like, introducing himself to the teams. They said a person with him, and I could assume it was his manager. And he was there, and we never laid our little eyes on him.
No. And you know what the thing is that I, like, looked, like, in the pictures, to be completely honest with you, he looked very, like, unassuming. Like, he, like, he would have stuck out at a Formula One paddock. But he's so American. He really is truly our American
just blended
king.
right in.
And he blended right into everyone. And I know that, like, saying that as an F1 fan sounds kind of insane because you're like, how would you not recognize Logan Sargent? I guarantee you, at one point, we probably walked by him during the weekend and we didn't even notice.
I feel like we didn't because I feel like people would have been around him.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I also, every time I saw or... I could be wrong. Every time I, like, saw or heard of people getting pictures with him, it was, like, very early in the morning.
Yeah, like, first thing doors open.
I don't think he was just, like, wandering around during the day.
And I'm sure that he's still probably not wanting to be super in the media, because I didn't even see that many people get pictures with him.
It's, like, 4 or 5, and then Andretti posting him on their Friday thing.
Yeah, so it was, but yeah, so Logan was there.
Yeah.
We didn't see him, but...
I want to backtrack a bit. We talked about how Zoe Racing did the Track Talk event. Mm-hmm. We bumped into her, like, a couple times throughout the weekend. Genuinely one of the nicest people I have ever met.
Yeah.
She is so nice. Like, we had our I had, like, a background with a QR code on it that Celine made for the podcast. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, you have a podcast? Like, let me scan it. She scanned it. She opened it up. And we were, like, in a busy at this moment. She's like, I'm going to keep this up. Like, go look back at it later. And then we kept running into her. And every time she was like, hi, how are you guys doing? Da-da. So nice.
Yeah, and something on, like, the live podcast she talked about, she was like, the biggest piece of advice I can tell anyone wanting to get involved in motorsport at all is just, like, put yourself out there and go and introduce and interact with people. And she, like, truly does, like, live that motto because every time we saw her, she came up and was very friendly. Even when we saw her, like, at, you know, the bar, she was, like, very friendly to us. Like, she's just a very genuine person.
Yeah, so nice.
So it was always, like, obviously... she, like, presents that to, like,
that's who
a
she
crowd,
is.
but it is who she is, like, obviously,
through and through.
You know, even in outside of the racetrack, so.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
Should we get to the Kyle Kirkwood lore?
Yeah, so we have, if you follow us on TikTok and if you follow us on Instagram, you will probably notice something shifted recently in our content.
Of Kyle Kirkwood.
An influx of Kyle Kirkwood content. And I'm going to say this to start out. There's not a real reason. Like, no one knows. It's just a feeling that came over us.
Yeah.
Something came over. So, me, Gracie, and then our friend MJ and our friend Marley. Something just came over us. And it just sort of happened. Yeah.
We were at... Gary from the Rascal Flats performed, which... he looked to be a little having some fun.
He was a little tipsy on stage, which we thought
was hilarious.
Was so funny, and it made
for a great concert.
It was a great concert, honestly.
And of course, everybody. I mean, he sang songs we knew. Obviously, My Wish, I shed a tear. And we wanted to hear Life is a Highway. Of course, he played it last. And of course, right before the song started, just starts pouring rain. And we were like, you know what? Life is a Highway is playing. We're already a little bit wet. We are going to stand out here and dance in the rain. And that's what we did.
It was like a freaking movie.
It was magical.
Like, we had to make a decision. Like, the rain started coming. Life is a Highway hasn't started yet. And we were like, we can do one of two things. Yeah. We can go under the tarp. Or we can stay out here in the rain and enjoy the music. And you know what? We're gonna enjoy the music. It was like being at a racetrack with your motorsport friends that some of them you didn't even meet in person until the day before.
Literally.
And hearing Life is a Highway, it was like literally like the perfect... Like, if I had to, like, pick a scene...
Like girlhood
to
its core.
Pick a scene to describe, and, like, that can perfectly, like, sum up the Indycar season in, like, a final, like, bang. That would have been it.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
It was cute. It was so fun. I wish we had a camera on us that whole time.
Yeah.
That would have been so funny.
Some people were, like, not people, like, media photographers, like, in media vests. They did record some videos of us. And I don't know where those will end up, if they'll end up anywhere. They might take one look at them and be like, no, that has to go in the trash. Yeah.
I hate to hear that.
Meanwhile, we were completely sober during this.
Oh, yeah. We were just having the time of our life. It was
having
fun.
A great time.
So then it's still raining, and there was like a tent with like picnic benches underneath, yeah. It was just jam-packed full of people, so we're like, whatever, we're just gonna keep walking around. We took some pictures too. And then we were like, well, there's the Indycar merch shop. Let's just go. And I think MJ still wanted to buy a jersey, so we were like, yeah, let's go, and this is our time. We're walking around. No, actually, this was our second time in the merch tent. Mm-hmm. And we were just looking around, and all of a sudden, we're standing in front of the Kyle Kirkwood jerseys. And we look up, and we were like, oh, buy one jersey, get one 50% off. There's 4 of us. And then I think MJ was like, I'm going to get a Kyle Kirkwood jersey. And then we were like, oh, the pink, that's huge. And then Marley was like, I'll get one and do the 50% off deal with you. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to be left out. And Celine was like, I can't. And you were like, well, I have to.
I couldn't not be the only one.
Yeah, that's so fair.
And so somehow we walked in trying to find our friend MJ a jersey, and we walked out. We're all 4 wearing Kyle Kirkwood jerseys.
And then we were like, we're already like soaking wet from the rain. Like, we could leave now. We don't know. Practice was delayed. We don't know when practice started. We were like, why don't we just go back to the paddock and just have fun? I don't know. Whatever.
We'll hang out. Find some people. And I will say this was really a great decision on our end, because at this point, most people left. Again, there was only one practice session.
There were 2.
And there were 2 left?
Yeah, they hadn't done any practice. They still had to do the Highline and the regular.
Okay, there were 2 practices left. But they didn't know even if they were happening, and if they were going to happen, they didn't know when they were happening.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we'll just see. We'll go to the paddock. If things get canceled or shut down, we'll leave. But we went over, and
first we threw on the Kyle Kirkwood jerseys.
Yeah, we put the jerseys on, and we got over there. It was pretty empty. Like, the paddock was pretty empty, and we used this as an opportunity to just film a bunch of content.
As motorsport content creators are.
We filmed, like, and almost all of this is posted, but, like, we filmed, like, a Minions Kyle Kirkwood that's over on Marley's page. Marley also filmed she recreated Bet On It from High School Musical 2 in a puddle. Nothing to do with IndyCar.
It's just funny.
But it was funny as hell.
Well, so we also happened to do the Minions TikTok, and so we were like, Minions take us to the moon, and then like we're all jumping up and down, be like, yay! And then Hannah, the Andretti social media admin, came over to us and was like, girls, can I get a picture of you guys? Yeah. And then we look over and realize half of the Andretti mechanics were watching us make that.
We were definitely causing a scene.
Oh,
but like in a respectful way, we weren't being rude.
No, we were not. No,
they weren't doing anything. People were just sitting around.
It's still raining,
waiting for the rain delay to go away, or for a decision to be made. But it was, I mean, there were a lot of eyes on us filming this content, and I will say that like if I had to like. If you asked Celine back before she attended the Indy 500 like months ago, if she would have been able to do that, she would have said absolutely not. But there I was, jumping up and down, going yippee, yippee, in front of 20 Andretti mechanics sitting there staring at me.
Yeah,
I would have been like, absolutely no way. But you know what? I was there and I was having a great time.
It was so fun. And then Hannah goes, oh yeah, she took our picture, and then she goes, look for it on this Twitter account. And we were like, we sure will, don't you worry. And then she was so nice too. She talked to us for a little bit. She like asked our names and like everything, like where we're from and stuff. And then she was like, I have no clue when practice is going to start again, but I heard a rumor 6. And we're like, thank you actually for the information. That's really good to know.
Very helpful.
Yes, she was super nice too.
We got to and we didn't talk about it before, but we also got to meet up with our friend McKenna, so Mac Loves Motorsports. We have been mutuals with her for a while, so we got to meet her. So we saw her, talked with her a little bit in the paddock, and we also saw our friend Sarah and our friend Mimi, and we were just kind of chatting. Everyone was hanging out, and then we did mention that Kyle Kirkwood was just standing like 10 feet away,
right behind us,
talking to a couple of the other drivers and some
other
people.
Literally by coincidence. We were just kind of standing around, we like filmed our little TikToks, and then we turned around and we were like, oh.
I am glad I didn't notice that he was there. And I don't even think he was there, but I'm glad that he wasn't there while we were filming, so I would have been a little self-conscious.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I'm glad that we got that over with. But we did get to film one where he was kind of in the background, which was funny. Posted on our social media if you want to go look at it.
Podium Pop.
But we did kind of wait out, and we were just chatting. We got to see Zoe again and a couple different people. We ran into Dave, and then we did get a picture with Kyle.
Yeah.
And all of the Kirk girls.
All of the Kirk girls.
And it was just a great time. Like, it just, again, like, we obviously love the racing, we love the competitive side and all of that, but it's also, like, the community that we love IndyCar so much and that's, like, the perfect example. Like, we had a great time and still had fun even during, like, the rain delay when nothing was going on. So
yeah, that was a great time. And then I think it had gotten to the, like, 6 o'clock point when we heard that maybe it could restart. And then I, like, looked. Oh, actually, no. Celine's cat is climbing on me.
She loves you.
She does. IndyCar Weatherman's Twitter account, I was stalking his Twitter account all weekend. And he, like, tweeted and was like, hey, here is this patch of rain. It was, like, really patchy. And he was like, here's this, whatever, moving towards us. And I was like, you guys, it's going to keep raining on and off. Like, it's getting later. We have to get up early tomorrow. And everybody's kind of in agreement. We were like, okay, we'll leave. So we did leave. We got some dinner on the way home. And then we hung out. Oh, we got IndyCar trading cards.
Yeah.
I'm addicted.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah. So that night, we, like, got home and we opened them. And we opened them, like, one by one.
It was like Christmas. Like, like Christmas with your siblings, like, you go, or at least me and my siblings do this, where we, like, each go around and take a turn, like, opening a present so that we can watch the other people open their presents. Mm-hmm. We literally acted like that with all 25 of our driver's card from the pack that we bought.
There were 4 of us.
So we would, like, sit there and we'd pull up a card. We'd have a full discussion about it and then move on to the next person. Yes, like, it was like a good, like, hour and a half to 2 hours long, and we enjoyed every single second of it. So that was fun. We got to talk. We had our friends Sarah and Emily and Ryan at the house with us, and
Lexi also flew in from a business trip.
So yeah,
she met us there.
Yeah, so we all kind of just hung out, and it was very casual. We still ended up going to bed, like, we were probably asleep by like 10:15, 10:30. Mm-hmm. And then we, again, anything else to add for Saturday?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And then again, on Sunday, we had to wake up super early. Even earlier, the race started at 6 a.m.
The Formula 1 race.
The Formula 1 race. Yeah, the Formula 1 race. But it was a lot of fun. We basically watched it. Me and Gracie had the master bedroom that we were sharing. Mm-hmm. So we watched from there. We, like, had an air mattress, and we all just kind of hung out and, you know, drank our coffee and ate our breakfast and started getting ready. We watched the Formula 1 race. Again, keeping it very brief. Oscar won. Very exciting. Lando had a great recovery drive from 15th to 4th.
That's insane.
Amazing. And, again, we're going to discuss this much more in the next episode. But McLaren, we can officially say this. McLaren is back, baby.
We are so back.
We're back, and we're here to stay. Because we, for the first time in 10 years... are leading in the Constructors' Championship.
Very exciting.
That's a big deal.
Huge.
The last time, like, that happened, like, literally, like, how... I was in, like...
We were in high school.
High school.
Yeah.
But
don't talk about it.
Okay. I assumed it'd be, like, a lot earlier than that.
No, we happened to graduate high school in 2015.
Oh. Yes. Oh, okay.
Yes, we were, like, 16, 17.
Still a long time if you think about it, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, so that was exciting. It was so fun to watch with everybody too. We were like in the beginning, we were all like laying in bed.
Yeah, we were like exhausted, and then the race started going, and we're like, okay, we're up.
And then we were like, oh, we have to start getting ready.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so that was once again just like a cute little girlhood moment. We were all watching the race, getting ready, like trying on outfits. It was cute. I loved it. Mm-hmm. And then we went to the track. Mm-hmm. Lexi and Marley really wanted to wait in the driver's signing line, and I was like, well, I kind of like the line they're in the driver's that they're seeing. It's like, I'll wait in line with them. And very unfortunately, the line was cut off right before we could get there. Mm-hmm. So that was a little upsetting. A bit of mass pandemonium. We were still like standing there when the drivers were leaving. It was insane. Like, Pato's person was like, guys, Pato has got to go. He's got to leave. And then, like, people were talking about, and I don't know, I was just sitting there, I was like, I'm frozen. I cannot do anything right now. Yeah, that was a little upsetting, but it's okay. It happens.
while they were in line, me and MJ explored the fan zone, and I do want to talk a bit about it. So I think that this fan zone that they had for the Nashville race, which is kind of to be expected because it's the last race, it's in a major city, but it was definitely the best fan zone fan experience that I had out of all the other races we went to. The Indy 500, I didn't explore the fan engagement stuff as much. So and it was raining. It probably would have been really nice too. I'll have to kind of do more of that next year. But the Nashville one, I was very impressed. There are a couple things that I want to highlight. There were a lot of like vendors that were selling like clothing and vintage clothing. I got this really cute like hat charm thing for my hat that I love, but they were selling a lot of like vintage racewear, all of that. There was I don't remember. It's Insta Stacks.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see much of it.
It's like the Polaroid, but like not Polaroid, but the other Polaroid brand or whatever. And they had like a booth that had a lot of like really cool like places to take photos. Like it had a lot of cool like backdrops, and you could basically wait in line and you go in and it's like a place that you could just take a bunch of photos. And they had Polaroid cameras for you to use while you were in there, and you could try them and take the photos with you. So me and MJ did that. We got a lot of photos there. There were a lot of vendors. A huge sponsor of the whole event was what's the lemonade? The spiked lemonade pouches, Big Machine spiked lemonade pouches. They had a bunch of like booths up, and they had tastings, and it was just a lot of stuff to do. There was Kona ice. There was
there were like inflatable obstacle courses. That was so cool.
Yeah, it was a lot to do. So that even if you were just there on race day, or if you just had like a general admission or a seat to like the race on race day, there was a lot. You could still pack your day full of things to do, which I think was cool. Versus like at a place like Gateway, they didn't have a lot of fan engagement things to do. So most people for that one like came right before the race started, attended the race, and then left.
Yeah, that was one of the like best fan engagements that we had seen, I would say. We'll have to revisit with the 500 next year. What did we do? Oh, after that we went over to the paddock for a bit, I think. We hung out for a while.
We met Pietro.
Oh, that's right. We did meet Pietro. Mr. Father Fittipaldi accidentally gave away Celine's hat.
Yes, he did give away my hat.
We don't blame him. He didn't know.
He didn't know.
Lore behind that is Pietro said he would give Celine, and I'm going to include myself, Podium Pop, in some Fittipaldi brothers hats. Very, very nice of him. And then he was like, hey, like, let me know when you're around. And then we like went up. We were like, oh, hey. And he goes, I'm so sorry. My dad gave away the hats. We were like, it's fine.
I was like, listen, do not stress about it. Because that's the first thing he said. I was like, it's okay. It's fine. Pietro, you could literally like stab me. And I'd be like, oh, he didn't mean it, guys. Sure. He didn't mean it.
And I'm in the background. He did it on purpose. He knew what he was doing.
But no, it was all fine. But yeah, so I got a picture with Pietro again, and then Sarah had another meetup, but this time in the paddock, so we got to meet some more of our friends. We got to see a lot of new friends. We got to talk more with some people that we've met before, but just haven't really been able to sit down and have a conversation with. And, we talk a lot about how much we love the Indycar community, and it's events like that just, like, remind you of things and remind you how, like, good of a support system and community that is around. So it's always fun. And to go to two of them in one weekend was super exciting because normally there's only one.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then we got some food. We took some pictures. Marley and I wore cowboy boots, and we said, we're actually going to go ahead and take these off. So we went to the car, exchanged them, and then we sat down to get ready for the race.
Yeah.
We did the same thing that we did in, like, Mid-Ohio. We obviously wanted to be there for the podium because it was going to be a championship-winning podium and, like, a podium itself. So we watched some of the race there. We watched the majority of it. I think we left at, like, 80 laps left. Went back over to the paddock.
We finished watching the race out there.
Yeah. We'll finish up a bit of our experience, and then the last half of this is going to be race. I do think one thing I want to talk about is how, if you do have paddock passes, the paddock is so incredibly far away from the main gates. Mm-hmm. You have to leave the grounds from, like, the front gates, and then you have to walk through a gravel parking lot, which I think that's kind of why I'm a little, like, coffee, is because there was so much dust and just gravel I was breathing in.
Yeah.
And then then you go to, like, a tram station at turn 4, so, like, you know, you're kind of in the middle, between, like, in the front gates, between turn 4 and turn 1. So then you walk all the way to turn 4, and then you are taken in on a tram through and into the paddock, and then you have to walk a bit more to get the paddock. It's just, like, obviously it's fine. It worked out. They had, like, the tram and this to get there, but it is so far away.
And it would have been even obviously worse if there wasn't a tram. And I think, honestly, if they put the tram stop closer to the gate, it would have been completely different. But it was, like, you already were walking through, like, 2 different parking lots to even get to the tram stop. And I don't know. It was so far. It's not like they can, like, change where the tunnel is to get to the
obviously
infield.
Not.
But that is something that, like, I actually was talking with, I was telling my coworker about it this morning, and he's been to the Speedway for a NASCAR race, and we were talking, I was like, honestly, like, if the tunnel was closer, I think it would have been the best setup, because everything was super, as most ovals are, but everything was super close together. Even with IMS, things would get a bit more spread out because it's kind of, like, looped around the different grandstands, but this one, it's all kind of clustered together in one area, except for the entrance to the paddock. So if that tunnel was put in a different spot that was closer, I think it would have been my favorite setup. Yeah. And it probably would have been, I think, the best setup for fans.
Yeah. Well, another thing, too, is then once you get over to the paddock, on Sunday there finally was, but Saturday, oh my goodness, I cannot get my day straight. Saturday, there was not a single cart for, like, a beverage cart vendor. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a water refill station. There was nobody selling water. There was nobody selling food. That is honestly, like, not acceptable. Because, like, at one point we had a situation where we, like, really needed water, and we're, like, using the sink to refill our water. Like, why don't we have somebody just, at the minimum, selling it? They did bring one in Sunday, and I only saw one. Yeah. And that, I mean, bless that man, he was very lovely. But there definitely needed to be more setup of water over there. Mm-hmm.
Especially because
fans who,
again, like, it's not like an easy run to the other side.
No, you can't just run back really quick.
Because even at Gateway, you know, it would have been far, but we could have easily, like, gotten to the other side in, like, a couple of minutes. But this one, if the tram wasn't there, which I will say the trams came so consistently. We never waited longer than, like, 5 minutes for a tram. But it definitely, there was no food. I mean, there was food and water, but it was only for people that had Honda hospitality. The situation, we needed water. I'm sure if we were like, hey.
Oh, well, no, of course.
We would have gotten it. But, like, it just would have been, it just wasn't acceptable.
But also, like, we knew, like people that, like, were there at the hospitality, so we could have asked them. But, like, also, if you're just, like, a person who has no clue what's going on. Yeah. And you're looking around and you don't see water or a water fountain or water refill station, you're like, oh, I'm screwed. Yeah. And I need to then leave all the way to go get water. And then you're like, I don't even want to go back. I just came and went a couple times. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is the only thing I would suggest they fix, and I hope they fix that for next year. I do understand it's the first time they're back, so it could have been some things they messed up on, and we're very glad that they brought it there for Sunday.
Yes. I think the only other thing also is that Gateway did really good is the seating in the paddock, because they did have a spot to sit, but it was basically the spot that also had where the podium was. Mm-hmm. So again, like, when they were doing events or they were doing presentations, like, say, the Indy Next podium, that was all blocked off. There was absolutely nowhere to sit down in the paddock other than the ground. And Mid-Ohio was similar, but even slightly better because there was, like, the bleacher seating at Mid-Ohio. And then Gateway was the best. They had, like, the couches, but then obviously not everyone can fit on the couches. They had picnic tables and benches as well.
Yeah, Gateway did that very well.
Gateway, it was amazing. But, yeah, with this one, there was absolutely nowhere to sit. So we ended up sitting on the ground at some points. And I don't know if they do it on purpose to encourage people not to, like, loiter in the paddock, I guess. Like, it's supposed to be something that you kind of walk through and then go. But, like,
it was definitely smaller than, like, Gateway. Bigger than Mid-Ohio, smaller than Gateway. Yeah. So I guess I kind of get that in that situation.
But that's something that I also wish that they would have had more of. It doesn't have to be anything comfortable like the couches, like even just like picnic tables or benches or something. I think would have been good.
Yeah. So yeah, like we said, we came back over from the stands to the podium because we wanted a good podium view. And then so we stood there and finished watching the race. Once again, that was like another like motorsport moment, like girlhood moment. Like it was so cute. We were like by the tower with the numbers on it, and then there was like a big screen where the podium was to watch. So we were all like sitting together watching. All of our friends had kind of, or like people we met throughout the weekend reconvened. That was really cute to be there together. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. So,
racing?
Should we talk about the race?
Yeah.
So, as many of you all know, going into it, I think we touched on it in the last episode, but it was pretty much decided, but still up in the air on who was actually going to take the championship win. It was between Will Power and Alex Palou. I mean, Scotty Mac could have had it if Alex Palou didn't start, which Scotty Mac is maybe one of the funniest people alive on Twitter. Throughout the whole week, he kept tweeting things like, because Alex Palou had to start. He could have started the car, done a lap, and still have, Scotty Mac still wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
But he kept tweeting things like, hey, Alex, if you want to go get sushi, I have a really legit sushi guy. Like, it was just really funny. Obviously, he was joking, but it was so funny. So it was really between Will Power and Alex Palou.
And going into the weekend, we found out that Alex Palou had a 9-place grid penalty because of an engine change. So we were like, oh, this is even more interesting because basically Alex needed to finish. If Will got all max points possible, Alex would have needed to finish 9th or better. And so he didn't start on pole. But it's like if Alex started on pole and then he would have gone back to 9th immediately. But Alex did not have the best qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
I forget where he originally...
Kyle did.
Kyle did. I forget where he originally finished, but he was starting like very back at the grid after his 9th place grid penalty. Mm-hmm. And Will was... Will you tell me, please, where he started?
Yep, I'm pulling it. Okay, so Alex Palou qualified in 15th.
Then dropped down.
With his 9th place grid penalty. And Will Power qualified in 4th.
So going in, we were like, ooh, but Alex Palou is...
Alex Palou.
That's all we need to say. And, like, if you don't know, I would suggest you go back and watch some races.
He actually won the very first IndyCar race that we went to, which was the Indy Road Course.
Oh, my gosh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I have always been an Alex Palou fan.
Yep.
And so going in, it was like, what is going to happen? This is crazy. So we're sitting up there starting. The race has started. We're watching it. It's going on. And then very early on, Will come. I don't even remember what lap it was. It was maybe like 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
It was like very
quick.
early.
Everyone was like, whoa.
Will comes in and we're like, what?
Yeah.
Is going on? And none of our phones working except for one of our friends, Patrick. His phone was working. And then we're seeing, and like the race kind of goes on. And I realized like, nobody kind of noticed it, and then I nudged Celine, and I was like, Will is still sitting in the pits. Mm-hmm. And then finally Patrick, like, got a notification on his phone, or, like, got it worked up, and Will's seatbelt had a malfunction. It wasn't in properly, so they had to, there was someone, like, climbing into his car to fix the seatbelt.
Yeah, they think it was stuck on, like, a piece of clothing or, like, in his race suit or something.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't an easy, like, a simple, like, unbuckle, rebuckle situation. Yeah. It was, like, let me tug this off and, like, replace a part of the seatbelt.
Yeah.
Which obviously slowed him down. And, once you get a couple laps back, it's really
This is also, like,
difficult.
a shorter oval.
Uh-huh.
So he, like, came out, I think, 5 laps down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, it's possible to pick that back up, but it's a little tough.
Yeah.
And then Alex was kind of steadily moving up for a while. He was still back there. So the first caution came from Felix having contact with the wall. And then the caution came out. His car was not able to be recovered. It had to be craned on out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So then it ended up being a pretty long caution. And Kyle Kirkwood just happened to pit right before that caution came out.
It was really unfortunate.
That was sad. The start, Kyle was a madman. Mm-hmm. It was insane. In the beginning, it was like people got close to him, and then he said, absolutely not. And he hit the pedal heavy metal. Thank you, One Direction.
Thank you, One Direction.
And he was just out of there. Also, right as the caution came out, Marcus Armstrong went into the pits. And I was like, oh, if that does happen to be a penalty because of that, I will be so upset. Didn't, thank goodness. Mm-hmm. But that was unfortunate for both of them. Like,
yeah. Really just bad luck, bad timing.
You couldn't predict that.
Yeah. Catherine Legg and Marcus Ericsson both also were taken out throughout the race. So pretty unfortunate.
Catherine's led to a decent length caution as well. Mm-hmm.
Just getting her
once
out.
again, it is so cool. Oh.
Well, yeah, she slid right into like the grassy part in between like the pit lane.
She also made contact with the wall and then went.
And it was funny. She landed right on like the Indycar logo, and I swear to God, if there was like a camera in a bird's eye view of that scene,
that would have been insane.
It would have been a great like promo for like the track or the series. But
poor Catherine. I hope she has better luck next year in Indycar or other racing series. She's not had the best of luck this year. Mm-hmm. But once again, with what I was going to say is pitting. It's so cool when everybody comes in at once, and you're like, oh, who's gonna get out first? Who's
it's
gonna
so
be first out?
Too.
And it's so stressful. And then watching them, like, because they're just so close and there's so much going on. It's thrilling. I love it.
This is also the best like seat that we've gotten.
Yes.
For any of the races that we've been to, so we were like right on the start-finish line. And we were in the perfect kind of like area where we were high enough up where we could have like the perfect view of the cars, but we were like close enough to still feel like we were like right there next to the cars.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a good balance, and like really our seats were, I think, ideal. Like I would love to sit in that same area every time.
Great. Yeah, I loved it. It was kind of, and then we waited out a bit. Oh, Mr. Marcus Armstrong had a great race again. I was very, very happy with that. Just had to throw that in there.
Pietro also had a good race.
What did he finish?
Well, he was in 16th, but similar to a lot of the cars, if it would have been like 3 or 4 laps shorter, he would have stayed in that spot, but he had to stop and refuel.
Yeah, a lot
because he would have ran out of fuel otherwise.
One of the ones that was really upsetting was Dave. He was leading for a bit.
And Kyle also
and
had
Kyle
to.
as well. They both were just way up top. And wait, was it Dave or Kyle that relinquished their lead? Was it Kyle?
I think Kyle was leading.
Okay, yeah. So it was Kyle had to come in and pit with not a lot of laps left to refuel, and then with Dave, they wanted him to finish in the winner's circle. And if he would have ran out of fuel and not finished where he, like, high up in the points, he would not have made it. Mm-hmm. So they made the decision to bring... he could have, like, risked it, but they didn't want that to happen, so they made the decision to bring him in. And he finished 9th or 7th?
He finished 9th.
Yeah, so he finished 9th, getting him the points to get into the leader circle, which is obviously great, especially... because how many races he did.
Yeah.
And, his comeback that he had.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and after the race, he did an interview with Georgia. It was so, he was tearing up a little bit, and he was like, Meyershank saved my racing career.
They love each other so much. Meyershank also posted like a really, really nice message for him, and it just like shows that Meyershank like truly does take care of their drivers, care about the drivers. The fact that he was like tearing up that he was leaving their team and they were upset that he was. I mean, obviously there's a great opportunity for him at Foyt next year, hopefully. Hopefully. But it just again proves that obviously he had a really good experience at Meyershank, which gives me a lot of hope for next year because there's still technically a second seat open at Meyershank, but we do have a feeling that it's going to be someone from CGR coming over. I don't know who that will be yet, but I like CGR, and I really like all 5 of the CGR drivers. Mm-hmm. So regardless of if any of them end up at Meyershank, I feel comforted knowing that they'll probably be taken care of.
Yeah. Also on Dave, once again, I saw him obviously I'm not the end all be all on this. He was the person I personally saw the most interacting with fans. Mm-hmm. Like you can see how much he cares about his fans and like how open, you know, he is to being out there and talking to them. And this isn't like against any other driver. This is just like, he's just amazing that I like saw him so much and interacting with fans. You love to see it. Mm-hmm. So then the race.
Yep. So final standings for the race. Colton Herta did end up winning.
His overtake on Pato was beautiful.
It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
It was beautiful.
Pato came in second, which I'm super happy with.
Yeah.
This is another Pato podium for us to see.
Podium
we saw
Pop,
him
Pato
win.
Podium.
Whoa, say it again?
Podium Pop, Pato Podium.
Yep. That's a tongue twister.
Pato Podium with Podium Pop.
Pato Podium with Podium Pop.
Love to see it.
Pato Podium with Podium Pop in the paddock.
Whoa! I'm dyslexic. Please don't forget that.
Pato Podium with Podium Pop in the paddock.
Yes.
So Pato was on second. Kyle would have finished in third, but this was after he already lost his lead. Mm-hmm. He went in, he refueled, he got back out. He was in third. Joseph Newgarden, like in the last couple of laps, overtook him, so he ended up in third. I would have loved a Colton, Pato, Kyle podium.
That would have been
so much.
Yeah.
Because I love all three of them. I would have liked it before the refueling if it was also a David Colton Kyle or David Pato Colton or David, any of those combinations.
Literally.
Not that I don't like Joseph Newgarden, but, you know, at some point you're just like, all right, we get it. You're great at ovals. Let's move on.
Pack it up.
Pack it up, okay? But, no, it was a really, really great race to watch. And obviously because of the standings, Alex Palou did end up winning the championship.
Which Alex Palou had a fantastic comeback from where he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he made his way back up to 11th.
Yeah. At the point before everybody had to come and refuel, he was sitting up in third at one point, and we were like, how can you do this?
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Is amazing, and he is very much so, like, he's young. Like, he's
he's so young.
How old is he? I'm looking. He's only 27 years old, so he's actually, if you think about it, Alex Palou is low-key giving the Max Verstappen of IndyCar. He has his third championship. He's only 27. Max Verstappen is also 27 and has
26.
3. Max is 26?
Max is younger than us.
Oh, but he'll be 27 like next month. But he also has 3 championships. Like,
and Alex Palou does happen to be our age, and look where I am. No, I'm kidding. It's just funny to see that you're like, wow, these people our age are. It's crazy.
But it's super, super exciting.
Yeah,
I'm very happy for him. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, very.
And I hope he has a lot of success. His name gets thrown around to go over to Formula One sometimes. Like every blue moon, it'll kind of pop up. And as much as I think he deserves it, I think if anybody in IndyCar deserves to go to Formula One, it's him.
It's him.
I don't want them to take him.
He wants to, unless he was like he very famously said, "Why would I go over to IndyCar to not be winning races when I can be winning?"
Why would you go over to Formula One?
Why would I go over to Formula One to not be winning races when I'm winning championships in IndyCar? Like,
yep.
And absolutely.
And that was so slay of him to say.
It was so slay of him. Mm-hmm. It was. I would like to talk about Mr. Chip Ganassi. He was standing up there on the podium at one point, and it was really cute. Palou's, so Palou came into the podium area, got out of his car, cheered. Beautiful, lovely. We have some clips of that will be posted onto our socials, so if you want to check that out,
I'm gonna make some hella good cap cuts out of that.
Absolutely. And then he like jumped into his team's arms, and at the, they're going up and on the podium gonna talk and stuff. Chip Ganassi standing up there, and he is just waving up all of the Alex Palou, the number 10 team, onto there. It was so cute. And at one point, like, the presenter's talking, and Chip Ganassi's just standing up there in his little hat, holding up the number 1. And he's just kind of, like, turning and smiling. He's not saying a word. It was so cute.
It was cute.
Yeah.
It was really cute. I famously used to not dislike Chip Ganassi, but I used to, like, not love when Chip Ganassi and Penske won because I felt like they were always winning, and I was like, oh, but I can't help it. Those Chip Ganassi boys,
they know what they're doing, by the way.
They know what they're doing, and I love every single one of them, right down to the little baby Kiff.
I think I've always famously loved Chip Ganassi team.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've always been a Marcus girly.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. They had to grow on me a bit.
It takes some time. You know who had to grow on me? Andretti.
Andretti? Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Because you were like, I don't think I like Colton very much. I said, just wait.
And that was during the Daytona 24 this year. I didn't know anything. Okay? Just give me a moment.
But all in all, fantastic race.
Yeah, it was great. So then... Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Oh, I was going to say, so then they did the... Alex Palou championship winning stuff. We got to see like the trophy and him getting the ring.
Which the trophy was beautiful.
Celebrations, yeah. And then like kind of one by one. Actually, I don't know if it was all them. I just saw Marcus Armstrong. The Chip Ganassi teammates like came in and congratulated him. It was cute. It was really funny. I had, oh my gosh, Sarah Paddock Princess made a bunch of heart-shaped glasses and like put drivers' names in them with beads and like other stuff. It was really cute. Mine fell off. I had a Marcus Armstrong pair. She made them for me. Very nice. Thank you so much. Sorry, I spoke that really quick. Mine like fell off. I bent down to pick them up. I stand back up. I look over my shoulder. He's right behind me.
He's right behind me.
He's right behind me, isn't he? And why does that keep happening to me this weekend?
No,
that was like just a comical moment.
It was really funny.
And then, real quick after that, people were like, "No, they're not going to do the like top 3 podium celebration because of the championship." And we're like, "Oh, are you sure?" We don't know. So then we hung out there for a minute, and then the Big Machine Juice Capri Sun Adult Juice Pouch Company, they just started throwing out their juice pouches.
It was giving Oprah, you get a juice pouch, you get a juice pouch kind of situation.
It was very obviously like they had so many extras and like they needed to use them up. They couldn't like restore them type of deal. So they were just handing them out at the podium. People, and then like people kept turning and looking at us and they're like, "You want a juice pouch?" We're like, "Yes, I do." And then we were like standing there like, "Okay, we're gonna go." And then we were like gearing up, getting ready to go, seeing mighty people around us. And then the guy came over and he was like, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the top 3 finishers podium celebration." And we were like, "Oh, we're gonna stay. We're gonna stay. We will be staying." So then we stayed to watch that. That was fun. And I just famously loved when Colton pretended to smash the guitar.
It was Joseph hated it, but I loved it.
And he had like complete control over it. There was no way he was gonna accidentally drop it. He was like holding onto it pretty tightly. I thought it was so funny.
It was funny. I mean, all in all, to kind of sum up our time at the Nashville race, it was a great experience. I would love to go back next year, regardless. I mean, I do kind of hope it's back at Broadway next year.
It's not.
Is it always going to be at the Speedway?
For now.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot wait for the day that it's back on Broadway, but yes, for now.
But regardless, even if it is, now that it is at the Speedway, it was such a good experience. So fun. I definitely want to go back next year. And the whole season in general, like the fact that at the beginning of the IndyCar season, I could name maybe like 2-3 IndyCar drivers. I could name Colton and Pato. I think that was literally it.
Yeah.
And now I would lay my life down on the line for any of those. Not any of them.
Celine, you're so insane.
Not any of them.
You said the only 2 IndyCar drivers you knew were Colton and Pato?
Oh, I knew Pietro, obviously. But I knew Pietro, but I knew him, I guess.
Personally. No,
I knew him on a personal level. We're friends. No, I knew Pietro also. I knew his name. But I like forgot he was an IndyCar driver.
You're just getting ready for maybe the future.
Oh, we're not going to talk about it.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's just crazy that like, again, like 6, 7, 8 months ago, I didn't really know or care about IndyCar. And now I'm like, what am I going to do? IndyCar's over. This sucks.
For 6 months.
6 months. So I think great experience, great community. You know, I'm excited. It's going to be kind of crazy, the fact that, because we've been consistently going to an IndyCar race around once a month since May.
Yeah, we were very lucky that we had races that we could easily drive to. Like the furthest we drove was St. Louis, and we got there in like 5.5-ish hours, which not bad at all. We were like very, very lucky of the location that we're in,
and the timing.
The timing worked out.
They all worked out really well. Where it's like we had like only one. Like, it was spread out perfectly. And we definitely hope to go to a lot of other races and other locations next year. I'd almost prefer to go to like ones that we haven't gone to.
Yeah.
But there's obviously some, like, I have to go back to Mid-Ohio.
Mid-Ohio was so
I'd like to go back to
fun.
Nashville. But we made so many friends. So many friends. Like, I can't even, like, name all of them that we've met this year in Indycar.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful. It's going to be a tough winter break. We have Formula One for the next, couple of months.
Yeah.
But we, in the off time, we will continue keeping you updated about any IndyCar news coming out.
Speaking of updates, you guys! Prema announced their first driver today, and it's Callum Ilott.
And I am so excited. We here at Podium Pop famously love Callum Ilott.
Love Callum Ilott.
And we're so excited. We don't know who the other IndyCar driver is for sure yet. Prema driver for sure. We have some thoughts. We have some prayers.
We have some prayers.
But we'll definitely still keep y'all updated.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of unknowns with the seats next year still. We still don't know where Alexander Rossi's going.
Can you tell us, please?
Please tell us. We don't know who, is taking over the seats at RLL. Please, BHO, please. Stay with RLL. We don't know about JHR.
We don't know about JHR.
We don't know. We know Foyt. Foyt has their seat secure. It's going to be Ferrucci and David next year.
Felix also, he was already signed for next year, but he has extended his contract with Meyer Shank.
Which is so exciting. Love Felix. Yeah. We don't know who technically the other Meyer Shank car is going to be either. Again, we assume it's going to be someone from Chip Ganassi because we know that Chip Ganassi is only keeping 3 cars.
And they have a new alliance formed.
Yes.
Or a pending
An
new
alliance. Yeah.
Alliance.
I love when using that term because it makes it sound like they're on Survivor.
Yeah. Also, we have talked about this in the past, but since we did go to a few races this season, but different venues, we are going to kind of do a breakdown episode of... I
think it'd be fun to rank them.
Yeah, to rank them, but we're also going to give, like, our favorites, place suggestions to go, like... hotel, Airbnb, like tips and tricks to do.
Feedback to some of those, which we are very open
And the number one thing I will be ranking is which track had the best hot dogs.
And I have a very strong opinion about it.
Very strong opinion.
In fact, again, I actually had a full breakdown on the different track hot dogs with my coworker today.
Wow,
so he got the inside scoop before everyone else. Yes. But we will give a breakdown now on that. Yeah. We'll give a breakdown on the bathrooms because all of them had very different bathroom situations too. And the girlies know that is important.
That's make or break.
Make or break.
Yeah. So we are not done talking about IndyCar by far. There are so many seats still to be announced for the rest of the year.
And at the end of the day, we like to yap.
Yeah,
We're going to yap. So you'll still hear IndyCar
absolutely.
content. We're hoping to get a little bit into WEC. Maybe some endurance. We want to use the winter break to kind of learn more about motorsport and maybe some series that we don't know much about. I talked about maybe getting into NASCAR. Who knows if that'll happen. It's a toss-up. But, make sure that you're still following along because, again, we're going to keep up with IndyCar. We're going to talk about Formula One. But what an experience.
Yes, it was so fun. And next week is Singapore for Formula One, so we will have a breakdown episode for that, and we'll talk about Baku a little bit since we didn't talk about it all this week. And then Formula One goes on a 3-week break before COTA.
And what are we going to do?
Well, we'll have some plans. We'll do our IndyCar track ranking. We'll do some things. I'm sure there'll be rumors. And at the moment, we're not going to COTA, but if you would like to manifest for us, you could.
Yeah, put it in the universe or something.
We are trying to go to Vegas and do it very chaotically.
Yep.
So, who knows what's going to happen to us by the end of this year. Thank you so much for listening in. We appreciate you guys following along and keeping up with us. Remember to follow us here on YouTube and Spotify, and go to our socials, and we will see you next week for our race recap.
Bye!